Hello, everybody. Hello, 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 hello. Hi, my name is Chil Kong, and I'm the artistic director here at Adventure Theater. Again, that's Chil Kong at Adventure Theater. Hello. Thank you all for joining us. We are celebrating our season announcement today. And throughout this next 2 hours, you'll get to have insight, have a little discussion with our amazing creative teams that have been put together. We're finally able to put everyone in. So we have our writers, our directors. Not all of them will be here, but most of them will. They'll be joining us through the wonder of the internet. Taste, a little tease of our amazing season. I do want to do some housekeeping things. So just so you know, this again will be a bunch of different people coming through this afternoon, I guess, or yes, afternoon. Some of our folks will be on West Coast time, but here in the lovely DMV, where Adventure Theater is set up, we'll be doing our anniversary season. Now, the most important thing for you to understand, and for me, I didn't really know this when I signed up to be the artistic director a couple of years ago, was that this coming season will be our 70th anniversary season. 70. So Adventure Theater has been here a very, very long time. And it speaks to the love and the joy that this theater company has been giving and has been getting back from the community for such a long time. When this theater company was first initially created, it was created by caring parents who wanted something for their kids within the Glen Echo area. And the Montgomery County in Maryland, and then expanded slowly but surely, and into multiple different iterations, and where it finally landed in our current home, that is in Glen Echo, in Glen Echo Park. Wow, 70 years. So this is officially, I guess, my first true season. So this is where most of the pieces were either selected by me or developed by myself. And I want to thank my amazing production team who helped put all this together in the midst of COVID. We have had an amazing, exciting time trying to put all this together. But again, now that we're finally coming back out of COVID, we are excited about our season. Yes, we have lots of precautions for COVID. We will have all those posted later on. As things change, as we adjust, we will have those protocols in place, and it'll be very clear on our website when we go in person. But our season, we're currently live. So if you do want to come on and see one of our shows, we are live and in person out in a field just directly east of the theater. It is still in Glen Echo Park. It is our Fairy Tales in the Sun. I hope you come out and join us. Go to atmtc.org and you can look up our shows. It'll be right there. Tickets still are available. It's running all the way through Labor Day weekend, so we hope you see you there. So, wow, our 70th anniversary. Okay. So we're really, really excited. And part of that is I want to share with you a video from our executive director, Leon Seaman, and our chairman of the board of directors, Nizreen, who recorded a special thing for us to talk about the 70th anniversary. Luis, whenever you're ready, take it away. Yeah, as you can see, we're having some technical glitches, what I thought we would. Hey, Luis, can you just check that sound and make sure that it's working? While I guess I'm going to still talk about this. You need to make sure that the shared sound is set up. So Vanessa, can you work with Luis to make sure that that's working? And yes, as Vanessa says, you have to unmute. So go back to the beginning of that video, please.
Hey, Jill. My name is Nizreen Schneider, and I'm the interim board chair for ATFC.
Hello, ATMTC fans. I'm Leon Seaman. I'm the executive director.
Leon, I'm going to ask you a question. You might not want to answer it, but how old are you?
Not 70.
Ooh, well, I am not close to 70 either, but I love the number.
It's pretty exciting. I actually had somebody ask me this week, I was saying our 70th anniversary is coming, and they're like, have I been here the whole time? And I said, I have gray hair, but not that much.
70th anniversary. Wow. I've had 10 years of ATMTC. Does that count?
That's certainly a lot. You may have me beat. I'm trying to remember, but so you've been with us 10 years. What's one really cool memory from your time with Adventure Theater in those 10 years?
Well, I've been a mum at Adventure Theatre for 10 years, and I've been at the board for 4-ish. The coolest time, and I think I'm gonna wait for the next 70 years. I'll come back to that. The coolest time was when Pinkalicious was playing, and my daughter made me playing. I kid you not, I went to every single Pinkalicious play that was for that whole season when it was played. And I want to wait for the next 70 years so that she can be a mum and she can take her child for how many performances? 20?
That's awesome. Did you go to the cupcake party? I remember the cupcake party as part of Pinkalicious.
I went to many of the cupcake parties, yes. And my daughter turned pink and her twin brother turned red.
Pinkitis. It's a serious disease out there, people. Watch how much pink you're eating.
Let's talk about you, Leon. What's your favorite memory?
Gosh, I think my favorite memory is my daughter's birthday. No, it was my son's. My son was coming to the theater with his class for his birthday. He didn't know that I knew he was coming, and it was Frosty the Snowman. And we blocked in a special cameo during the curtain call where I came out and sang happy birthday to my son from the stage.
Was it the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe? And it was
amazing
played by
production.
Only 2 artists. Do you remember that?
That was an amazing production.
Was that exactly 7-0? That was amazing.
We are excited to kick off the 70th anniversary with an announcement that Chil's going to make about all the amazing shows we're bringing to the stage. Shall we go hear what he has to say?
I can't wait for the new season. Thank you, Leon. We'll leave it up to Chil.
All right, take it away, Chil.
I love that. Well, as you can see, this is a kind of a loosey-goosey day. We're going to enjoy ourselves, spend some time with you, our audience, and give you some insights, get little teasers of the shows that are happening in our 70th anniversary. We also want to let everyone know that we will have an email set up somewhere. If you have any favorite moments with Adventure, please send us the video. We're trying to collect the history of Adventure. And I know there are lots of grandparents out there who remember bringing their kids to Adventure Theater when it was first going. I know there are lots of kids who are now adults who have kids. Oh my God, there are generations of Adventure Theater people that have come to appreciate the history and the gift and joy that is given to everyone. So I hope you come out and talk to us and tell us your favorite moments, just like what Leon shared and what Nazreen shared. So we're gonna, as you can see, we're gonna throughout this day, afternoon, we will be sharing and meeting up with a whole bunch of people. Right now, what we're waiting for is our playwright and our director for our first production, which is Luchadora. Now, I'm what I'm gonna do is I'll actually present all the shows right now. Oh, they're both here. And so is Vanessa, who is, so we have done a different, there you go, Avaro. Hey. And Vanessa, come on out. So this is really cool. Let me introduce everyone here. So Alvaro is an amazing playwright. He has worked and has been commissioned by multiple different theater companies across the country. He currently has one, a new one he's working on right now, which I'm looking at. Can't wait to read it. Alvaro is prolific, and we're very lucky to have someone as talented as he is, who is joining us today. Ricky is a phenomenal director. He has directed actually all across town, and you've been in Texas for a little while and not coming back. He's also one of the great, really fun professors at Howard University for the theater department, keeping himself busy. Like, this man is all over the place. Vanessa is, we have been, it's just so everyone knows, and actually Ricky and Alvaro, when we had a chance to work with Vanessa for the first time, like, I think it was Luchadora, the digital reading that we did.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I started talking to some of the staff that was there at the time. I was like, this person, how do we get a hold of this? How do we keep this person? How do we make sure that we work with this person for a while? And so slowly but surely, we got our tentacles over to Vanessa. She's now our technical, she's full-time with us now. So yay, everyone. She's our technical manager, she's our artist in residence. She's our fight choreographer. And she's going to be joining us on the cast of the show, but also our fight choreographer with another very specific luchadora wrestling choreographer joining us. So this is the team. Yay! So, Amado, have you known Ricky before?
Actually, can you hear me? I didn't actually. Yeah. So, actually, what's interesting is when I was first developing Luchadora, I submitted it to a play festival in Austin, Texas, and out of all the people who, number one, the play got selected, and then it was directed, presented by Ricky Ramon, and that's how we got to know each other in terms of seeing each other's work. And that's actually the first time I got to see like luchadora, like with see how it would work, in Texas. Even though I kind of had like a feeling it was going to work there, but also getting to know Ricky in terms of his own work, and so it was So I was pretty excited to find out he's gonna bring it to life for Adventure Theater. That's awesome.
Yeah, we were really lucky to get Ricky because the initial reach out was that he wasn't available. He was so busy. He was trying to get back in school. He's going to be teaching at Howard. He was finishing projects in Texas. We were like, reached out again the second time, and thank goodness he was like, yeah, I think we can make it work. It's like we were literally like this. But so happy that you can join us. So okay, so the two of you have been in this development early stages of this, right?
2014.
Oh my God, it was that what? So, but it premiered. Didn't it premiere like just barely 2 years after that? Like, it was pretty quick, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So I was. That was the first thing. Is I was as I was writing it, I kind of was at a point where I needed to kind of see and get a feeling to see how it was presented, and I felt like, I was developing it in Milwaukee, and one of the reasons why I sent it down to the festival in Austin was because number one, I really the theater Teatro Vivo, I really love the work that they do, but also like I knew that it was going to be a little bit easier to find a Latina to play Lupita, to play the lead character and all that, to actually find people who kind of maybe even lived or at least had some sort of experience, something along with some of the story that was going on. And so that was one of the reasons. And after that, I continued to develop it, and then 2 years later, it was presented in Milwaukee, and have been very fortunate to have this play actually produced all over Texas in various venues, and so and obviously all across the country, and it's pretty cool now that it's here.
It's so funny because when I first met Vanessa and we were talking about Luchadora, and the more I got to know Vanessa and all the stuff that she's done, it's like I feel like the Mask Maker was literally written for Vanessa.
It very much felt that way. I remember in our conversations, I was like, martial arts is my background, and that's what I thought I was going to do with the rest of my life. So reading the script and talking with Chil, who had directed the digital piece, I was like, this is how I am with my students, where it's like, it's this tough love, but it's really caring about you and not just what you bring to the art form itself, but who you are as a person, and making this connection, like the mask maker makes with Vanessa and Lupita with their mother, and the intergenerational like power that's there. So when I read the role, I was like, this fits perfectly. Like, where has this been all my life? Like, I'm so glad I got to read it.
Oh my gosh.
Bring it to life. So thank you, Alvaro, for like writing this amazing character.
Well, thank you, and I have to admit, like I wrote that role for my wife, and it was like I mean, it was kind of the same thing. Like, I mean, I wouldn't doubt that you both have similar backgrounds, but I wanted to write this piece that also challenged her in something that I never saw her do, and you know, one of the reasons we got into theater is we knew we wanted to create theater for ourselves. We weren't going to wait for those opportunities to come to us. We were going to do it ourselves. And this was in that mindset. I was creating this, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to keep doing this. And so I wrote that role for her, and to see how it played out. And it's been awesome to see these various people take on the mask maker in various different ways. And it's been very, very inspiring and pretty awesome to see.
Well, I want to get to this what great point that you had, which was like a lot of times we artists of color are, you know, we have to create our own space. We have to create our own opportunities, right? But just one point that I do have to make, Vanessa, take a look at Alvaro's website where it has a picture. There's a picture of he and his wife kicking, and the second you look at it, you're like, oh, I see who has the technique and who doesn't. Because I was like, oh, when you said that about your wife, I was like, of course she could do it. Her kick is actually straight, it's flat, while Alvaro.
I'm faking the funk, man.
It is awesome. So you kids out there, like, it's, if you know the little details, you'll learn that how you can see what is proper technique, what is not. And what I love about this team is that we have people like Vanessa who knows about fighting, and then we have an actual luchador wrestling choreographer who's going to join us. Yes, there's a luchador. I didn't know there's an actual luchador. A fight. It's just like there's a group up here, right? Vanessa?
There's multiple groups around the area. So the one that we're specifically working with, her name is Carrie McGee, and she was in the Richmond Lucha Libre circuit for 6 years as a manager, also as a fighter, and she's also a theater person. So we are so lucky to have her. We also have been in discussion with the local wrestling theater, Flying V. So we've been really pulling in collaborators who have a specialty and can really help bring the story to life, because it is a lifestyle. Like, Lucha Libre is a lifestyle. And so we're so lucky to have these amazing artists that are collaborating with us who have specialized in this like amazing fight style.
So I do want to just circle back to this idea of us having to create our own space, and then kind of give it to Vanessa, toss it to Vanessa, because I know Vanessa had some examples of luchador and lucha libre wrestling, and then as you all go through that, I'll kind of step away and let you and Ricky and discuss all that, because I am a noob at that. That was a term I just learned from my son. It's like a noob. Okay, so all of you out there who don't know, you know, we're fortunate in that Adventure, we have our leadership in our artistic decision team is 75% people of color. And so that's really rare within any theater. I didn't think about that.
Any theater, you are correct.
So what this says, and you know, for all of our audience and our kids out there, is that we are making stories for people that look like us. They'll look like you. Montgomery County is incredibly diverse. So Northern Virginia is incredibly diverse. And so we're going to actually be able to have things where people are caretakers of your story that look like you. And that to me feels so much more exciting than anything else. And so Ricky, you did some also like new theater companies as well down in Texas. Is that correct?
Yeah, I primarily worked with Teatro Vivo in Austin, which that's where Alvaro and I met. And I think one of the highlights of Teatro Vivo is that they encourage new works. And so their new play festival, I mean, if you look at the history of Teatro Vivo's new play festival, many of those playwrights have gone on to have prolific lives in the theater world, not just in Texas. So
Yeah.
it's been a great journey for Teatro Vivo, and I'm happy to have been a part of that.
Yeah, it's amazing, but we've had to create our own space to make that happen. And I feel like the rest of the theater community is finally catching up to what we've been doing all this time.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, hey, yay to diverse voices. But let's toss it to Vanessa. And I know we want to let's talk about something really fun. All of y'all who should be excited about this is the wrestling part is an integral part of the story, which is also why I love that Vanessa is doing the presentation. But it's also about a female identified person who finds strength in doing something that is typically done by males, right? So I love that, and I love that, Alvaro, that you found that voice in this play as well. So take it away, Vanessa.
Great. Awesome. So this is actually in collaboration with Ricky. We were just meeting about what our favorite clips were from wrestling. So this is actually something Ricky had sent me because we've both been doing our research and we've been collaborating a lot about what excites us with wrestling, with lucha libre fighting, with the theatricality of it, and how we can bring it onto our stage. So this is a clip that Ricky, he was like, we have to show this. And as soon as I saw it, I went, yep, this is the one. So this is one of the clips that Ricky had shared with me and serves a little bit as inspiration for the show, the style of it, the choreography of it, and just the general aesthetic and vibe of it. Ricky, do you know which clip I'm talking about?
No, because I swear I sent her a million. I'm like, this one, no, this one, no, this one, no, this one. There's a ton of great historical footage of lucha libre from way back when, before any of us were born. And so there's just a lot out there. So I'm excited. I'm like, which one did she pick?
I love how it's just a mystery because you did send me a lot of clips, which was super exciting to know that there's such a wealth of knowledge within this play and that we're bringing it to life. And we're honoring like where lucha libre came from and like the origins of it and seeing how it's like transcended time and like how what we see in modern wrestling that was like derived from lucha libre, which is really fun. But I'll stop talking now and play the clip because it's an exciting one. Alrighty.
Lucha estelar de esta tarde que ya está siendo casi noche, donde Canek empieza como con la misma tónica de la lucha anterior, empezando a golpear a Mil Máscaras y yo pues supongo para tratar de tomar ventaja con este tirante a los brazos y presión a la espalda, bueno, que ya nos está dejando ver de alguna manera castigos que son tradicionales y clásicos entre los luchadores de México, ya muy conocidos. Mil Máscaras es un luchador también con una gran calidad y una gran categoría, 2 pesos completos, amigos, que tienen una gran categoría. Ellos están en este momento disputando de alguna manera, así lo han hecho ver a todos, pues para ver quién es el peso completo más importante que hay en este momento. ¿Qué suplex tan importante acaba de darle Canek? Muy doloroso a Mil Máscaras. Es el principio de una contienda, de un combate, de una confrontación que esperamos sea verdaderamente impactante, porque estamos frente a 2 luchadores de peso completo, campeones del mundo. Mil Máscaras, doble campeón del mundo, ya les platicaremos en otra ocasión. Canek, campeón mundial por muchísimas ocasiones, con un angelito, trata de dominarlo, pues no, es una especie de estrangulamiento, que son principios de una confrontación de titanes, de los cuales se espera mucho. Realmente, con estos castigos a los brazos, esta palanca al brazo de Mil Máscaras, ustedes van a poder observar una serie de castigos por parte de los dos. Por ejemplo, Mil Máscaras, este es un clásico castigo que él hace al brazo de su contrincante, para poder doblegarlo, disminuir sus facultades y terminar con él al principio o al final de la contienda. Ahora, bueno, intentó Canek darle vamos a llamarle en un momento dado.
All right, that's what I want to pause.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
It's so interesting because I think Vanessa, you're the one that's saying this, that it feels like it's a throwback to 80s, like 80s WWF wrestling stuff, because it's still very big, but from what I understand though, there's still like real wrestling involved, right?
Oh yeah, like that's the thing when people see wrestling or see something like WWF, WWE, they're like, "Oh, those are just fake hits." It's choreographed, but it doesn't mean that you're not still falling and you're not still flipping over yourself, and you will get some bumps and bruises. So it's highly athletic, but it's also this amazing performance where it's, yes, you are fighting, but it's like this like grand fighting style. So the hits are real, the bumps are real, even though it's choreographed and people are being safe, they're still getting bumps and bruises. But it's so exciting to be in the ring and watch it happen, seeing those lifts, seeing the tosses, and seeing the rudos y técnicos, like seeing them fight, and the story that the fight tells is really, really exciting. And I'd love to hear like how Ricky is going to bring those fights to life and to like honor what Alvaro has like written, because talking with Ricky about his vision for the show is also what gets me super excited, because I'm like, oh yeah, we can definitely make that happen. As a choreographer, as an actor, let's do it. Like we're all like hands on deck for this.
Well, I think for me, the wrestling, I might attribute me being in theater from wrestling, because I grew up, my older brothers, I grew up watching 80s wrestling with like Hulk Hogan and Razor Ramon, and the Undertaker, and my favorite from Texas, the Von Erich family. So I grew up, I even threw this out there to all my designers that I would love to pay homage to the wrestlers that I grew up with in the 80s. And so I'm excited about that. But I do attribute wrestling to my introduction to performance, because I knew as a kid, 3, 4 years old, I'm like, that's fake, but it's so entertaining. Like the dramatic reactions and actions, and even how they would entice the audience to be interactive with what's going on. And even the ref, like that clip up there, the ref was even over, exaggerating his reactions, and it's just very entertaining to watch, and how skilled the wrestlers are. I mean, it's like a dance. They're highly choreographed with each other. And so, I mean, in that clip alone, you saw some of the basic wrestling moves that, most wrestling fans will probably recognize and they can name right off the bat, right? So I'm excited to bring classic wrestling with modern wrestling, with lucha libre and Mexican wrestling all in one place. But the key is to have fun and to be dramatic about it.
Yeah, and for everyone out there who this is, what we've been looking for is a way to engage our Spanish-speaking audiences in a slow way for us, right? Because Adventure in itself hasn't done that very often. We as an organization hasn't done that type of, the idea has always been bring, no matter what kid or where they're from, bring them to us, and then we'll tell them a story that is a universal story, right? And I think the interesting shift in philosophy here now is we can find the universality in something specific, and the more specific it is, the more universal it becomes. And I'm also want to point out Janet Farrell, who is part of our Latin Hispanic committee, is joining us. Had some technical issues, so I'm glad she's been able to see this live. But this play is really a small, tiny step in what we envision as a future, where eventually we're going to have an entirely Spanish show. But we have more than half of the cast speaks Spanish, correct? Am I correct in saying that? Yeah, so we'll actually be able to do interviews and speak to a community that we haven't been able to in their language within this community. So I'm just excited about that. Like, what about because I know, Alvaro, this is fairly new, this community for you. What is it? What have you found with every different city that you've gone to when this is presented? Have you had a chance to see what the reactions have been?
I have. It's been pretty awesome, just in the sense that, for some, what I wrote this play. I mean, even though I specifically wrote it at a young audience theater, I knew if this was true, like what we call like Latinx theater, that is multi-generational. And so what I was seeing was like whole families coming, moms, dads, bringing the abuelitas and the kids. But then also I saw just, older adults, who didn't have kids coming to see the show and enjoying it. And especially like even in Milwaukee, we were seeing these like Latino audiences who had never come to a production there in downtown Milwaukee to come see a play that was about, their own culture, and so as I've started, and I've started to see that, even though it's little pockets. I mean, this play has been done, in Oregon, and in obviously even in like small pockets in California. Obviously, we know California, like that's huge Latino land, but it's starting to pop up in like these little pockets. Going to be done in Columbus, Ohio. That hasn't been announced yet. I can't say where it is yet, but we got Mexicans everywhere, and
Everywhere.
our stories need to be told too. And I feel like, and our story isn't just the immigration story. I mean, we've been here quite a long time. And I felt like this was what I was trying to do with this. And I've had so many people connect with it. I mean, I've had people come to me who I've known for a while, but who started to tell me stories about their own parents or grandparents being migrant workers, because that's also part of this storyline in this piece. And for some, they were ashamed to talk about it because that was just something they knew they didn't want their kids to do. And yet I felt like this is, migrant workers are like the backbone, in terms of, they're the ones who get the fruits and vegetables onto our tables. And I felt like this was a moment to celebrate that. My father was a migrant worker growing up, and I felt like that was also something I wanted to highlight, and something that he shouldn't be ashamed of, and something he didn't want me growing up in, but definitely something that I felt like, this is a part of many Latinos' lives in terms of this. And I felt like this has been cool to kind of experience this as I've seen different audiences take this in, and to hear these other stories of their own experiences of how this story connects to them.
Yeah, what about you, Ricky?
Yeah, this story, I'm so blessed to have Alvaro in my life, because this story was pivotal to me realizing that our stories aren't often told. And it took a little Latino theater company in Austin for me to realize that, we must tell our stories. Yes, our people must tell our stories. But then people like actually listened, and watched the show and said, this is a great story that can be told anywhere. So, I'm just making the realization that it all started for me in 2014 with Alvaro in Austin, Texas. Yes, there's a huge Latino population there, Mexican population there. But now we're bringing it to like Washington, D.C. Like that for me, like is, I'm going to get emotional here. That for me is very, I would never have thought that somebody in Washington, D.C., who's not a Latino theater company would care about telling my story, because this is my story, right? And just the idea of being acknowledged and not being invisible anymore is like transformational. And I can't wait to see because Washington, D.C. has a huge Latino population, and I can't wait for those audiences to come in and watch the show and have the same epiphany that I've had, right, with this production, because it is transformational, it is life-changing, it is validating, and the story is so beautiful too. It's hopeful and it's joyful, and I just can't wait to see how audiences react to it.
Yeah, and I love that these the main characters pass the Bechdel test. The main female character passes the Bechdel test. It's just purely about her finding her dream and having to go up against her father to do it. And I love that. That to me was the universal part of this, that it was so easy to latch onto. And I have a son, but I hope that I raise my son in a world where he sees that as a regular part of his stories that he knows. And, and because a lot of ways it's like, because these kids don't see these stories, they don't know that it can actually exist. And you know, and I'm just honored, Alvaro, that we've been building this relationship together, because your voice is an important voice within the American lexicon, the theaters within the United States. Let me say that properly. And just to have you and accessible to us, we're just super excited about it. So kids out there, you're in for a wild ride. And Vanessa, like, is there anything that you want to like give the last words for us? Like, is something you want to say about like what your thoughts on when we were selecting this piece? And
Wow, what a pressure to have the final words. It's truly thank you. Being a martial arts instructor, that is like my home, and it could have been very easily that the mask maker was a woman, or that it is a male identifying figure that is the protagonist. So having a female showing that there is a voice and that they are respected, they are incredible fighters, that not only is it a Latin story and it's universal, but it also shows female strength, intergenerational strength. And I'm so excited to have this piece, because how often do we get to see our own work be embodied by our own community and celebrated and bring other people in, so that, hey, you can celebrate my culture too. It's one big fiesta here. Like, we're all going to have a good time. And so I'm really excited to bring this to life, because Alvaro, you wrote such amazing words. Ricky, I'm so excited for your direction, and I'm so excited to get to choreograph and act this. So also thank you to Adventure Theater for really caring about the story and wanting to uplift it and join in the fiesta. Like, everyone come out and see Luchadora. It's going to be a really fun time. There's going to be lots of high action, and it's going to be a great show.
September 17th through October 31st. That's September 17th through October 31st. It will be fun. You will see a lot more about this. We'll have our own special presentation for this later on in the month. So we'll definitely reach out for you, Alvaro, for another round. But this specifically is part of this giant, release of our 70th anniversary. So thank you for joining us today. All right, so I got to do the wrap up, but thank you. You are amazing. I can't wait for this thing to start. It's going to start rehearsals in like 2 weeks, right?
2 weeks.
Yay! All right, Alvaro. I'll definitely talk to you soon, because I think
Excellent.
I'd love for you to be there on the first day of rehearsal. So let's try to see if we can get you kind of phoned in.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Thank you for this opportunity, Chil. It's great meeting all of you.
Thank you. It's what I loved in many ways about this play that is launching. So actually, can you go back to Luchador slide, please, Luis? I'm gonna wrap it up with Luis about Luchador first. So what I want to make sure that what I love about this piece is that can you bring me back on screen, Luis? Thank you. So, and he mentioned this, that entire family was coming. That it wasn't just kids. And that is the philosophy here. When we say 0 to 99, the point of us is that we're telling stories that is intergenerational. And some of that really comes down to like just my own experiences, where my kids or my son or my niece and nephews were having a good time, but I didn't really get as much joy out of this being at this. And I wanted to figure out how to have I want to find stories and I want to find plays that allowed everyone to enjoy it in different levels. It is a model that is geared towards the intergenerationality of our audiences. I wanted our grandparents who bring their grandkids, as much as the parents, as much as the kids, as much as the niece and nephews and uncles, that they all find joy in these pieces. And Luchador is an exact perfect example of that. So again, thank you to Alvaro and Ricky for taking the, Alvaro for writing and Ricky for taking the creative helm. We're so excited. Our team here is super excited about the piece. Okay. Yeah. And it's launching our 70th anniversary. So super excited. I thank you all. Now on to our next piece, which is Winterfest. Can you go to that slide, Luis? Thank you. So Winterfest, The idea is that we will bring this back every once in a while as part of our celebration of all things that are in the winter. And this really came from my first year here. We were looking around to what to do for our holiday slot. And the things that are available at the time were only like 2 plays, musical-ish things. And that was it. Like there's 2 or 3 things. And so, and there are things that I've seen and I didn't necessarily find any excitement in that. So in the midst of COVID, we decided to do a festival to figure out how we can include incredible rich voice within the DMV and bring them out to write about something that's in the holidays. And it was part of our Jingle in July festival. So we spent the time with our local writers and did a festival. Basically, the idea of our festivals when we do them is a simple idea of if you write it, we will put it up. Now, there are caveats, right? Like, because we are a TYA, theater for families, that subject matter has to be very carefully screened. But if you fall within that arena, we really are looking for new voices, and we'll put it out there for you. In doing that, we got a wide variety of really talented writers who came out through not just Jingle in July, but also our Q-Fest series that we did in the midst of COVID. And we ended up actually with 5 plays that we want to select for Winterfest. And then unfortunately, we need to trim it down to 3 just because of time constraints. And we're finding that we need to bring it down to 3. And in this selection, when we brought it down to 3, it wasn't about the quality of the 2 pieces, it's just that the fit, how they all fit together, right? So this Winterfest is a collection of 3 plays that is written by Robin Schrader-Seaman, Diego Moramba and Michelle Bowen, and Keegan Patterson. It is the 3 different plays are called You're in an Aura Like the Menorah, Connections, and then Cranky Penguin. Do we have? Yes, they're there. Oh, I see. Okay, they're all here. Come on out. And Kara, our director. Yay. So I'm going to go, I think, clockwise on this screen. Let me introduce you to our amazing creative team. Kara Gabriel is our director here. Amazingly talented. We're very, very lucky to have her. Has been a professor all over and had directed all across town. When we were reaching out to and discussing who the director should be, Kara was really the first on our list, and we're just lucky that she was available. Robin is our writer for our Yuri and Aura Like the Menorah, and Diego and Michelle are writers for Connections. And Cranky Penguin is Keegan Patterson on the bottom. So thank you all, thank you all, thank you all. So we're gonna have a brief discussion, and then we're gonna toss it to Robin, who's gonna make a menorah. So we're having a little interactive thing. I wish I had time to get the things that Robin asked us to get. I did not. So we're just, Carl, you got it. Okay, thank you. I'm glad I'm not the one. I'm the only one that failed that.
Robin, you inspired me. I'll show you when we get there.
Awesome.
I realize that we don't have a description of each of these, and part of this is we're having a discussion about what inspired you for these pieces, and so I'd love to hear from Michelle and Diego about what inspired you to write Connections.
I believe you gave us a prompt. So for those who aren't familiar with the way Jingle in July worked, we were all given a prompt of 5 things to include in the script, and I think we had to choose 3 of 5 or include all 5. I'm not sure which one, but the one that stood out the most was you're trapped, right? And that's a loaded description. It's a loaded prompt, and I kind of worked off of that. Connection begins with one of the main characters trapped in a box, he thinks. And I think that's a great metaphor sometimes because the story itself is an immigrant story as told through 2 stuffed animals, that belonged to the hero of the story. And oftentimes we do feel trapped, whether it's in our own skin because we're different, or maybe not understanding certain cultural references when we first set foot on U.S. soil. So really, Chil, it was that one thing. I'm trapped, and it kind of evolved from there because it challenged me. I didn't know I was going to write something that was based on my own immigration to the U.S. or anything to that matter, but it kind of unfolded from there. So what I've found is that that little exercise where you start with a random prompt often does help to dig into what are the real stories we want to tell. And in this case, it was an immigrant story as told by two childhood buddies, Philippine carabao and a Philippine eagle, two very distinct Asian or Filipino animals that tell the story of our heroine and her immigration to the U.S. and the things that she learned.
What I love about this is that it is in the context of the holiday, and a part of me really thinks it's like, oh, this is a conversation the two of you had. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's as you're waiting for something to happen, I feel like some of the conversation the two of you had, because it starts and really revolves on the two characters, right?
Right, absolutely. And that's a piece where we have an 8-year-old daughter, and she loves bedtime stories, and we've oftentimes told her stories about our childhood.
Every night it's, can I have a kid daddy story? Can I have a kid mama story? And she wants to hear about what we did when we were her age. And this is some of that, actually. Yeah.
So the two of you are creating like every night.
Well, that's a good way to look at it. Yeah.
Yes, Chil.
Yes, it's our lab, right?
Well,
you see, parents, even these two are surprised that they're creating stories every night. But you all are. I've seen it in every setting. Or parents who feel that they're not creative, who are all of a sudden like having to come up with a story, and they do it. And that is the magic of theater, right? Is that we're not capturing something really interesting that you do as parents anyway, and having to think up whatever you can from your life, right? So I love that. So let me toss to Keegan and then come back to Kara because she's had a chance to read all of these together. So Keegan, I'm going to assume that it's also a prop thing, but I love this idea of this penguin.
Yeah, it was a prompt thing. So I also kind of connected with the trapped thing, just because we were kind of in the heat of the pandemic at the time, and I didn't know if I was going to be able to go home for the holidays and stuff like that. And I was getting a little cranky about it. See what I did there? And I just started writing. I just started writing this idea of a penguin that was angry all the time, and then everything kind of snowballed from there. I don't mean to have this many puns, but it just happens. I just decided I was going to write something that made me laugh, because I have a very childish sense of humor, I've been told. So I was like, if I'm going to enjoy this, families will enjoy this as well. So after the thing premiered, I had maybe 5 to 7 text messages from people saying that they don't have thumbs, which, if you haven't seen it yet, you will understand that joke once it's up and running.
So Kara, when I first approached you about doing this, and you saw the scripts, what were your first impressions?
I think all 3 of the pieces have some lovely humor in them, which I always like. I always kind of try to find the levity in whatever piece we're doing, and it's different humor in each of the 3 pieces, but I really like that. But I think right now, when I look at them, what's connecting them for me, it's funny that both of you said that this idea of being trapped as the prompt is kind of what started you. There is a really strong sense of either some kind of magic or miracle in each of the 3 pieces, and some kind of sense of, despite a feeling of being trapped or feeling disconnected from either ancestry or from friends or from someone else, that there's a thread, and each of the pieces kind of figures out the threads between us. And I don't think it's accidental that the three pieces were born in pandemic times when we were seeking to find the threads between human beings, right, between one another. And so so to me they really work together well in that way.
Yeah, as you can all see, these plays, your plays, are in really great hands. From the multiple times that I've been able to work with Cara, including iterations of different new works, is that the care that she puts into how the connective tissues, not just in the humor, but the depth and drama of each of the pieces. And so I'm just really lucky that we are able to get Cara here, and to be the caretaker of your stories. And I know she'll be in lots of meetings with all you all to do some more discussions, and we'll have some dramaturgical things, but we're just super excited. I saved Robin for last in particular because, just for all of y'all to know, there are very few that are in the U.S. lexicon of plays that are strictly about either the holidays for Jewish community. Am I correct in saying that, Robin?
Yeah, I think for sure. I think there's a lot of plays and just things out there that include lots of different holidays, and and everyone has a little of something. But I'm hard pressed to think of very many, if any, that are just, hey, let's just do, this is going to be about Hanukkah, and that's it. And so that's what I really wanted to do with this piece, is say, let's celebrate the beauty of of Hanukkah and of my culture, and and have that out in the world. So
yeah, and
that's what I enjoyed.
What I love is that you took a very specific part of it, which is about the menorah and how to build it. So I'm going to toss it to you, because I had no idea. I mean, my assumption was it's these gilded menorahs that I've seen in temples, but they're not. So Cara, you want to bring out your materials, and then Robin, you can kind of talk us through how to build one?
Sure.
So what I should have brought for you is actually one of the inspirations in the play is we have a very extensive menorah collection. Everything from things that were my came when I married my husband, and he had his menorah from his parents or grandparents, and then things my children made in school, and things we just pick up along the way. And so we have everything from like flip-flops that were made into menorahs to like special silver whatevers and everything in between. So really what makes something a menorah, I guess, is right. The first question is so Hanukkah is for 8 nights, and so on our menorah we have 8 candles, and then an extra candle, a 9th candle that we use to light all the other candles. And so really, if you meet those requirements, if you have your 8 candles in a line, one special candle, you make it taller than the others to differentiate it, you got your menorah. So there's really all sorts of things that you can do, and to me it's super fun to have that. And traditionally people light them in the window so passersby can see, and they can realize the miracle of Hanukkah, and they can see it. So I love to go out and see what are everyone's kind of cool menorahs. So we're gonna make something super fun. If you want to, I guess, show what you have so far, Cara. I made a lot of prototypes for something that would be easy, because I didn't know everyone's kind of crafting levels. So mine are made out of upcycled things. So having kids, we have a lot of little baby food jars, but you could do this with, I guess, little spice jars, or you could, I guess, make something huge with pasta sauce. I don't know what you want to do, but this is what we happen to have around. Because I save everything. And then I filled them with lots of things that we happen to have around. So I filled one with little pom-poms, and I filled one with with little ribbons from my daughter. And if you have kids, you can even send them around your house to hunt for different things, or you could, I don't know, you could use leaves. You could have everyone say, "Oh, pick your favorite color," and each jar could be a different color. I don't know, whatever
So
suits
this
you.
totally depends on the personal, individual choices that people make about.
Yeah. So this is something to me really fun about menorahs, is you can make it your thing. I'm cutting my head off here, but that way I think maybe you could see. So I have like all these different ones. This one I filled with little erasers because that's what we had around. And then we'll fill one with, I have beads here.
Right.
I don't know, so fill
And
it.
some of these can have meaning for you and your family. Some of them can be just totally outright fun.
So for this was just totally, I like things really colorful and just random and fun. So that's what I did. But yeah, if you have meaningful ones, I also brought a bunch of dreidels. So like, I figured we could fill one with dreidels. So that'd be kind of extra Hanukkah-y. Here, I'll come down here like this. So I don't know, whatever you have. And you can kind of just glue, the tops on.
Yeah.
If you're so inclined.
So it doesn't matter necessarily, like it is up to your personal choice and preference for the visual appeal of how you want to create the Hanukkahs.
It really is. It really is. So we have wooden menorahs. A very popular thing is you get like nuts and washers, like bolts and nuts, those kind of nuts. And you get them that are the circumference of your candle, and you glue those onto. So our kids have we painted a block of wood and we glued a bunch. We glued 9 of those on, and then each night you can stick your candle through the little washer, the little nut, and make it that way. So I said, what makes it a menorah is that you have your 8 candles and then your 9th one taller, and that's really it. That's
the thing. I was raised Catholic, so everything is super important and has to be blessed or gilded, or you know what I mean. So what I love about this is it's a lot more fun than people thought it was, right? I know Kara. Do you have any of your jars, Kara? I want to see some of your jars.
Okay.
So I have a million pasta jars, and I felt a little overwhelmed because they were so big, and I was like, what am I possibly going to fill these with besides dirt from outside? So I went to the dollar store, and I just bought tiny little dipping bowls for $1. So I have 8 of those, and then I bought a larger votive holder. And then I went down to my basement, and I just got a ton. These are just beads. These are my kids' beads, right? All different colors and shapes and sizes. So I thought, okay, I started there because Robin, right, you had things that you had filled jars with. So I started with the beads, and I was like, okay, I'll put my little votive in there. And then I started thinking, oh God, are my beads gonna melt? Is this a fire hazard for my children? What do I do? And then I thought, well, what else do I have that I could decorate these little bowls with? And I have a million different designs of washi tape. Right? Do you know what washi tape is? It's little decorative. And I seriously have a whole box full of washi tape. And this is something that a tiny toddler could do, I think. And I just started taping around the little bowls.
That is cool.
So they'd be decorative. Awesome. And I was like, well, I could do one in every design of washi tape, or if you're classier, maybe you just want to do it all in the same. But I kind of, like you, Robin, I like more of a mix and match. And then here's my bigger one. So I feel like you could fill it with something, or you could just tape around. And I think you could do this with the baby food jars, or you could do it with the pasta jars too, actually.
So here's my finished, I'll kind of get out of the way. Here's the finished one. So we have the one in the middle that's taller, that's called the shamish. And then I got these lights, and you put them on. And so this is our really fun menorah. And then each night you light another candle. So the first night you light 1, the second night you light 2, blah, blah, blah. Until on the last night, they're all lit.
Yeah, this is what I love. As Cara was talking about these connective tissue between the plays, is that it is connecting to your past, it's connecting to your future. There's some beautiful things happening here in these pieces, and we are really fortunate in that there is a wealth of amazing writers here in the DMV. And I'll tell you, if I ever hear any artistic director poo-poo this community, it's like they're totally wrong. I found out really quickly how incredibly inventive the writers here, the creative voices are here, and just having the three of you alone with your stories, and then have a caretaker like Cara who's crafting away as we speak. Like, it just talks to the energy and the joy that I feel like this piece is really going to create. And each of your pieces, I remember like just being surprised by them, finding tears in moments and finding joy in moments in each of your plays. So thank you. You all are in for a holiday surprise. You get to see multiple things on different communities and celebrating all the joys of the holidays, and finding really unique, specific stories, which is what we're trying to move to. This is really what I believe in here is the specificity of your stories will give us the universal. I don't need to try to make it like, a generic story for people to get, because they'll get it if you can get specific. And all of you have that in there, all the way from menorahs to gifts that are given to someone who was in a journey, to a cranky penguin. I'm just delighted in being able to present these collection of plays and have them in the hands of someone like Cara. So thank you all for joining us. Yay! Woo! So Winterfest is November 19th through January 2nd. That's November 19th through January 2nd. Come join us. We are so excited. Thank you again. Woohoo! Wow. So from Winterfest, we now move on to Make Way for Ducklings. Now, this is a play that was originally commissioned by the magic that is Michael Bobbitt. I am very fortunate to be stepping into very big shoes. Michael had really kind of brought up adventure into a whole new era in its 70th anniversary, and really allowed me to join. So, Michael, I love you.
I love you back. I don't know if I appreciate the crack about my big feet, but I love you too.
They are giant shoes, Michael. Giant.
Thank you. No, I wore pink so I can match with Robin Seaman.
And you do. See, that's the thing. Like, you are purposeful in everything that you do, including this piece. I don't know if Sandra was able to make it.
I'm not sure.
Yay! And I think Bill was going to try to make it. He's still, yay! Okay,
wow. You're magic.
You're doing all these entrances.
Look at that.
And Ashley King, who is our director for the piece. So, woohoo! This, look at this team of y'all. Look, everyone out there. I want you all to understand, this is a magical team. When we had this, when I was discussing with Michael and our creative team about who to get, we had multiple iterations. But to have someone who champions you, you're as a director, to have like everybody basically like, yeah, of course, it was so easy when we put out suggestions of who to reach out to. And I'm just so happy that we're able to get Ashley to do this, who will be choreographing and directing this piece. So yay!
Hey, let's hear it for Dancing Ducks.
It's really exciting. Listen, I tell everyone, if you get a chance to work with Ashley King, just do it. If she's willing and she shows up, just say yes.
You're too kind. I was positive that I got this job just because I was great at spitting out multiple kids at once. I thought it was a typecasting version of directing. But I like all the other positives, the creative positives.
Now, see, this is the thing. Is like you all have worked together because I remember Michael was saying I guess when you first came out to the community, Ashley, as a choreographer, Michael was there, right?
Yes, he was he's been my mentor and champion for years. But I remember going from the ensemble to choreography, I actually sent Michael an email being like, I feel like our backgrounds are very similar, having started in ballet and performance, and I just want to study with you. And he had every right to ignore my email, but he said yes. So.
But I think it's what it is though, Michael, is what I love watching you and what you've done in the community. And I am still mad at you about this, by the way. I'm gonna be mad for a while. Because just so everyone knows, Michael has been an amazing artistic director, had moved on to being a artistic director at another theater company up in Boston, and then has now transitioned out of theater to run a gigantic cultural arts of Massachusetts, right?
Yeah. It's interesting. It's only been 6 months. Today is actually my 6-month anniversary. But I went from producing and working in theater every day to now running the state arts agency. So I get to give away about $35 million a year to arts and culture organizations and individual artists. And it's a dream. The best part is that I now know what weekends look like. I haven't had a weekend for 20 years, I think.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Now, I have more reasons to hate you now.
Oh, by the way, also my day stops at 5, and literally the emails stop at 5.
Stop.
The joys of being a bureaucrat.
No, but I think what I appreciate that you've done is that you've still the history and the work that you've done, including creating things with both Bill and Sandra. It's everlasting. I feel like you've been the boat that has cut through the water first, and the wake of that boat is still fluctuating through the giant sea that you're in, right? And so and I am a fortunate caretaker of that. And so again, we're very lucky that you're here, and you're going to be a part of our 70th anniversary. This golden team is part of our 70th anniversary, right? So I know that, Bill, you have a medley that we have a video of that we're going to play. But did you want to set up that little medley first so we can just present it so that all of y'all can see how cool and exciting this thing is?
Absolutely. One thing I want to excuse right off the bat is there's one outdated lyric in it, because we've made one big change over the last 3 workshops, which is the number of ducklings doubled. It at one point, for economy's sake, we wanted it to be 4, and the outcry, I feel like, it was it has to be 8 ducklings. It's iconic. So there's a lyric about 4 ducklings in there that is just ignore it. But the score, I think it's a medley of 4 or 5 pieces from the score. The score is very consciously a kind of a throwback classical musical theater score. Michael and Sandra and I had written shows in the past where I was really trying to go for something specific in terms of Caps for Sale was trying to be pan-European, and Blueberries for Sal was trying to be very outdoorsy and folk-like. And for this one, the word we kept hearing was timeless. And so I really wanted to write something evoking like the Sherman Brothers in Mary Poppins, or the Newley and Brickett scores from the 60s. So something that had that kind of just a classic golden era of musical theater feel. And I think that's basically all to say about this one.
So, Louise, can you bring that video up, please?
Make way for ducklings, tell everyone around. Make way for ducklings, they're waddling right through town. So hush your horn and siren blast, let everyone in Boston, Mass. Pause and let them safely pass. For ducklings, make way.
When you've got a park, your city's full of light, festivals at night, picnics in the day, sailing in the summer, leafy peeping in the fall. With a park, you've got it all. I have heard of cities grand, built over sand, or on a network of canals, and I might visit them on trips but I want to live where I can see pigeons fighting over potato chips. City life is tough. Life can feel unfair. That's why you need air and a willow tree. People search for home year after solitary year. When you've got a pack, home's here.
What we need
Is a peaceful,
quiet,
cozy,
normal spot full of worms.
free of turtles.
Is that asking for a lot? We should fly around for just a little bit.
Look for solid ground for just a little bit. Find it with a fine-tooth comb. Just a little bit of home sweet home. Just a little bit of home sweet home.
Hey, I think I got it! This is tiring!
This is wet.
Aren't you glad you tried it, although you were terrified? Follow my example.
Follow your example.
Follow my example.
Follow closely. Follow us.
Let's glide.
Think of our ducklings and who they'll get to be.
Four lovely ducklings that look like you and me.
They'll have your wit,
Your flying skill,
your honking laugh.
your handsome bill.
No matter who they are, they will be loved every day. 'Cause we'll swim beside them and guide them back to shore. We'll watch for turtles, it won't be like before. They'll know they're safe when we're around, up in the clouds or on the ground.
Wait!
Did you hear that cracking sound? For ducklings make way.
So good. It's so
It
good.
is so good.
My office is about 3 blocks from the park. And so now every time I walk to the park, I start singing these darn songs, Bill.
I love
These
it.
beautiful earworms that are stuck in my head now.
And the ducks come to life magically, right?
Exactly. They get dressed up for every single holiday. You'll go through the park and there'll be ducklings dressed up for St. Patrick's Day or ducklings dressed up for Christmas. And so it's really very cute. I'll send you all pictures every time I walk through.
Good.
Yeah, this is what I love is that you're there. We're also fortunate that we're partnering with Wheelock, who in Boston, as part of the cyclic premiere. Like it premieres here and then it goes there, and so just having someone who has the Boston ear as well and can make sure caretakers of this book, which is really like it was a stamp of Boston integrated within the book, right?
Oh yes.
Yeah, in fact, just last night I was walking with my husband from dinner to the car, and in this small neighborhood of South End, there was a little tiny kids like toy store, and in the window was the book standing up on end. Make way for ducklings.
Yeah, this is what I love about this is, just as Bill, as you were creating this music that is going to be iconic and it just feels that way, this classic piece, this is also bringing voice to a piece that has been around for a long time.
Yes.
Yeah. So, I know that the creative process with the three of you, Ashley's going to finally get to see some of this because we'll do a workshop soon about it. But like you two are the three of you are really fast.
Sandy and I have a shorthand because this is our 5th piece.
Sure.
Yeah. This is our 5th piece because, I guess we can consider
Just a Dream
as a project. So, and then this is Bill and I, this is our 3rd piece together. So we do have a bit of a shorthand together. But Sandy and I will go back and forth for a while over the concept and the synopsis. And then once we actually start putting it to paper, Sandy usually starts with the first draft of the scene. And then we go back and forth and adding a bunch of stuff and deleting and I'll sort of wax poetically on some of the ideas that she's had. But I am more amazed at Bill, because Bill won't say that he's working on something.
Nope.
And then all of a sudden, like a week later, there'll be 5 songs
Here, I want you to listen to
fully
this.
orchestrated. And
Yeah,
it's
and
unbelievable.
just adding to Michael, that process of kind of working out a synopsis and really getting a concept for who the characters are, what the conflict is, how do we get the humor in there, is an essential first step. Yeah, maybe that's ultimately fast when we start writing, but as you know, we write and discuss and debate. So it really is an iterative process. But I really think that part of the playwriting process is really essential to getting to the right place.
Well, too, it's what I appreciate is and some of our audiences, don't always see all of this because you see different layers, right? Is the complexity in the top layer of this piece that allows parents to enjoy and laugh as much as seeing you having these incredible musical ear worms that just lets you sit with the kids, and walk out with this complex ideas about family and community that are coming out. And that's what I really love about this.
And Chil, again, you write from what you know, right? We have children, we have parents. I think what's interesting is the first book we wrote from this, we adapted this author, Blueberries to Sal, was very much about relationship between a mother and her child. And here it's now the relationship between the parents, the relationship between the parents and the children, and the relationship between the children, right? So it all mixes up, but it does, we call upon what we know, but we also then sort of think through how that works dramatically. But it's a great process, a lot of fun.
I also love that this is very timely because it's about community. It's like, how do we help each other? And how do we survive as a community? And we save these ducklings because we act like a community and not as individuals, only think of themselves.
I wanted to ask Ashley, because there are 4 main ducklings that have pretty specific personalities. Do any of them, do you relate? Do your kids mimic those ducklings?
Well, and that's the beauty of multiples, is that it really is a study in nature versus nurture. There are things that, and it happens in your book as well, there are definitely character traits that you realize are from the parents, but these children come out of the womb with their own personalities. Like my triplets are around each other all the time and have completely different loves of foods and habits and ways of yelling at you. But more than anything, they are the boss and they will tell you about yourself. And that's exactly what happens towards the end of this play.
Let me add one other point when Chil was saying this is about community, right? Well, anybody familiar with the book knows that the first part of the book is the Mr. Duck and Mrs. Duck finding a place to nest, and then the eggs hatch, and then the father disappears for the remainder of the book. And we said, that's not going to work with today's audiences. Luckily, the author's 2 daughters agreed. I mean, that's such an important part. And that's, again, working from a piece of literature and a beloved one, but we had to make it relevant to today's families.
Yeah, and still be timeless. And so this is what I love about this, and then this is what makes me so excited for this team. I can't wait for all of y'all. We will have also another special segment about this later, once we have the workshop, because we have a new song that Bill just added. So yeah, I know, Ashley, it's like a ton of stuff. I know that we have a meeting that we need to set up pretty soon to go through priorities for the workshops. We will make the presentation of the workshops public in some form or another, but it will not be digital. It will be live. So when we're ready to do that, we'll let the universe know. Honestly, we're just happy to have like Michael come back down for a little bit and spend some time with us back to his home.
Back home. Yeah, thank you so much for allowing me to stay connected to Adventure Theater. My baby, who's now being raised by their new parent. But I'm really excited to be working with these 3 people who all have been huge parts of my career in DC. And so thank you so much for making that happen.
Yeah, we're really, really, really excited. So thank you, and we'll see you soon. So the time for this is it'll be February 4th, and it'll run through March 27th. That February 4th through March 27th. It's coming up soon. This is 2022. Oh my goodness, it's really soon. So we'll see you all soon. Thank you. Bye.
Thank
Bye,
you very
friends.
much.
See you later. Bye now.
Oh, it's lovely to see Michael. I'm so thankful to have him in his life, and I've known him for a while. So, I am, again, also really grateful for the time that he's given me, as well as what he's done with Adventure as we celebrate our 70th anniversary. He was such an important part of its growth, and we can't wait to be a part of his next iteration as he moves on, but also creates, because he is still creating. He's still an amazing storyteller. So we're very, very happy that we can share a new story of his with Make Way for Duckling and Sandra and Bill and Ashley. Okay, so our next piece, yes, let's talk about Poop. Okay, so Poop the musical will be our 4th show in the season, and it is originally started with the book Everyone Poops. That's when we started, but we found a story that was too big for that book, and I was really lucky to work with Philip Chung, who originally, there he is, Philip, who I just was mentioning the book, and Philip was just like, "Hey, I have an idea." I'm thankful because Philip is an amazing writer himself. He's the creative director of You Offend Me, You With My Family, which is the digital department for Justin Lin's film company. We also have Woody Pak. I believe we have a picture of his because Woody couldn't join us, who is our composer. Yes, I look at him looking so kind of forward and stern. I think that's his professor photo. That's what it is, because he teaches at Seoul International Art Academy in Korea. That's where he is right now, which for him, it's 5:20 in the morning. So we wouldn't want to do that to him. And also joining us today is Jeff Liu, our director. This is a reunion of sorts for us because the 3 of us worked together in many iterations with the theater company in Los Angeles. But I'm just happy to have this team. And I was so excited, Philip, when you were like, "Oh, hey, I would love to work on
something." I'm going to amend that story a little bit.
Okay.
Because it didn't start off with you saying, "Hey, we have the rights to Everyone Poops." I'm thinking about it. You actually said, "Hey, we have the rights to Everyone Poops." And the first person I thought of to adapt it was you. So,
I'm trying to make it sound like I was being coy, but no. I mean,
you made the equation between Poop and me. Like that wasn't something that I brought up. So
I wasn't saying anything about that, Philip.
Yeah. All right. But yes, so you mentioned a reunion. The 3 of us were a part of a theater company, an Asian American theater company here in LA. Called Lodestone Theater Ensemble, and it's been over 10 years since we did that. So that was 2009 when we closed our doors, and then shortly thereafter, you moved from LA back home to New York first, and New Virginia, right, and ended up at the Adventure. So here we are. I am honored that you thought of me. I think not only for Poop, but it was it your first commission or your first thing?
You were absolutely.
On board, right?
Yeah, as soon as I got on board and I knew I had the rights to this book, I was like, good grief, how do I do this? So look, the only person I can trust with the first piece was really was you, Philip. So I'm just happy you said yes. And when I talked to you though, I was being coy because I was like, so Philip, do you know this book? Do you remember this conversation?
Yeah, well, I mean, but you weren't that coy.
Oh, okay.
I'm just going to be honest, but I
thought I was being slick, man. Come on, I thought I was being really slick.
Well, maybe not as slick as you think. So, but it's interesting. Like that was a subject I was already interested in. Not necessarily the book Everyone Poops. I mean, I'm familiar with that, as I think probably everyone watching this is. It's a very popular children's book for those who don't know. But I had already I had read a few years before this other book called The Big Necessity, by Susan George. And it's basically a book where she kind of investigated a lot of stories around poop and kind of how it impacts our world. And so like I already kind of had that in my mind, because I think the challenge with a book like Everyone Poops and why this kind of ended up spinning off into its own thing is there's really no story or plot in the book. It's really just a picture book about animals and then one boy character pooping, right? So, so it's not like you can kind of adapt it, in a way where, oh, like here's a story and we just have to figure out a way how to do it on stage. I mean, it's its own thing. And I think that was probably like the biggest challenge. But luckily I'd read this other book. And so I knew there was a world out there that we can explore in an interesting way. And then look, when you're talking about, hey, we're gonna write a play about poop, it has to be a musical. Like there's no way around that. You can't do a play about poop and not have people and actually non-people characters. There's a lot of non-human characters in this, like not break out into song and dance. Like that ain't gonna work.
Yeah. Which is why we're really, really fortunate to have Woody, who also composes for K-pop. He's composed multiple musical theater musicals. One of them was Making Tracks, which is when I first met Woody. And I knew I've wanted to work with Woody for a long time. So when you said, hey, it needs to be musical, I was like, I think I know who we should talk to. And first thing he said was, yeah, I know the book. Like, I was shocked how quickly y'all were in. Like, it was like that.
Well, I mean, it's poop. Like, either you're going to be in or you're not. I don't think it's one of those things where, like, you're like, oh, I'm on the fence about this. Like, and then obviously Jeff came on board. And I don't know, Jeff, if you want to, we don't want to hog the conversation. If you want to talk about, like, kind of why you were interested in coming. I think I'd already written the first draft by then, right, Jeff? I can't remember. You had read the script, right?
Yeah. I would say that in general, I'm probably one of those people where hearing poop as the premise might, not have been the most exciting thing in the world. But I read Philip's draft, and it was so smart, so sort of amazing. By taking this, sort of potty training classic picture book and turning it into this epic of shame and, Christmas Carol like visitations and then ultimately global sanitation, but in such a fun way. And then Woody has written this score that has everything. Do you know what I mean? It's got a power ballad, it's got boy band, it's got soul anthem, it's got kind of period harpsichord-y thing going on. And those themes and those sort of aesthetics were so exciting to me. And then of course the chance to just work with Chil and Bill again is a gift. It's a gift to have friends who are artistic collaborators, to have a place that you can go and tell a new story. I mean, I feel like that's like more important than ever.
Yeah, and it's funny because when as we were getting closer to figuring out when to put into the season, and when we have to after the first draft, we're like, I got to start getting a director about this. It's like the only person that I think any of us talked about was really you, Jeff. So that it was because part of it is the two of you have worked together in multiple iterations for plays, right? And so the two of you already have shorthand. But, the way you look at plays is very much the same way I look at the way we're telling stories here at Adventure, is that there's all kinds of levels. Like, you're the only one that actually can land the poop joke, right? And then also tell the really smart story on top of that poop joke. Not a lot of people can do that. That's hard. That's a hard balance. So kids out there will be poop jokes, there'll be fart jokes, and there'll be some smart stuff. There's a lot.
I mean, like maybe just a brief kind of rundown of what the story is, right? I mean, Jeff mentioned The Christmas Carol, the Charles Dickens book, very famous book. Obviously, it's been adapted into many plays and movies and things like that. The Wizard of Oz was another one, that I had in mind. Dorothy going on this magical journey. So, kind of that was a starting off point for me. So the idea, I knew like the thing I wanted to explore was, kind of being a shame. The topic of shame and being ashamed as a jumping off point, because I think that's something that all of us can identify with. Whether you're a kid or an adult, right? Is being ashamed of something. And what's one of the things we feel collectively as a society the most ashamed about is poop, right? Like, it's something that we don't talk about. But because of the research and reading the books like Big Necessity, I knew like we had to talk about it, because there's a lot of things in our lives that, like, everything from climate change, to education, that really is related to this topic, So the idea came from those two kind of jumping off points, Wizard of Oz, Christmas Carol, taking the audience on a journey. So we have this young boy character named Taro, which is my nod to Everyone Poops. The author of the book is Taro Goto. And he goes on a field trip with his class to the Smithsonian, and he accidentally poops in his pants, because he has a medical condition called shy bowl syndrome. And that's something that a lot of people, both adults and kids, suffer, which is, kind of being like reluctant to go to the bathroom or going poop, right? In public, when other people are around. It's a very real condition. So he feels ashamed, he feels bullied, and a friend of his, which is the stuffed rabbit that he has, kind of ends up taking him on this journey through space and time to kind of teach him everything about poop and why it's something that we shouldn't be ashamed to talk about and why it impacts every aspect of our lives, right? So so I hope people will have fun, because you'll see everything in here, from the poop emoji, who's like kind of our MC. He's like the MC from Cabaret for the adults, that reference, kind of takes us through this show, to like the Chinese goddess of the toilet, to Thomas Crapper, who's kind of considered the father of the modern toilet. So you really kind of get a sense of like, why it's important to talk about this, hopefully in a very fun way and a musical way. So there you go. Are we going to play a clip of the song, or what do we want to do for that? Or what are we doing?
Philip, you kept threatening that you're going to rap this, so I want to hear you and Jeff rap this. Come on. All right, so what's the song? Well, no. What's the song that we're doing? Well,
do you want to play the clip of "I Pooped in My Pants," or do you want to do a rap? What are we doing? You're the
let's do "I Pooped in My Pants." So this is the song that kind of kicks us into the world.
Yeah, and just a little bit of context for that. I mean, you'll probably only play a small clip of it, obviously, right?
Yeah.
But this is kind of the song where our lead character Taro the boy, talks about like what happened, on his field trip, that he pooped in his pants, and the other kids are bullying him for that. So that's the context of the song. So
yeah. So So, Luis, bring it up and start it at like 30 seconds, so that we're already into the chorus. Yeah, chorus. Can you bring up the song? And then play it until you see me wave, and I'll wave once we're ready. So just let me know when you're ready, Luis. In the meantime, we'll keep chatting. Just give me a thumbs up, Luis, when you're ready. So yeah, I guess what I found is that you hadn't done musicals before, though, correct?
No, but I've always wanted to do one.
Yeah.
Like I'm not like a big musical person like you are, Chil, but like I want to do it once. Like it wasn't my dream. Like I want to write musicals or whatever, but it was something that I wanted to try, and this seemed like the good opportunity, And so I did the book and the lyrics, so the play and the words, and then Woody, as you said, composed the music. So that's like, I don't know anything about music, right? So like definitely we needed, kind of Woody's help. So here, you'll get this little clip of it in "I Pooped in My Pants." I think we're ready to play it.
Okay, go ahead and play it.
Cause I pooped in my pants. I pooped in my pants.
There's no reason to be sad. It doesn't seem so bad.
Well, I thought that I could hide, but then my whole world died. Cause I pooped in my pants.
You pooped in your pants.
Yes, I pooped in my pants.
Okay.
I pooped in my own chest. I think it's bad.
Okay, Luis.
And we should give credit, like that's a demo that Woody cut of the song. Michael K. Lee, who's a Broadway performer, and his children, I believe, were kind enough to come in, because they live in Korea now. He performs in Korea. Were kind enough to come into Woody's studio to cut that demo for us. So I want to give them a shout out as well.
Yeah, we love you. We love you, Michael K. Lee. Truly one of the best singers I've ever heard, ever. Phenomenal singer. So yeah, as you can see, it's super catchy. I pooped in my pants. Like, I love this. I love the entire score. We're lucky in that these all three musicals, like they're really, really fun and all incredibly different.
Yeah.
And again, it really shows and sings to this idea of it can be complex and fun, and still reach and be exciting and fun for adults as it is for kids. And so I hope that this little musical snippet shows you how fun it is, and it is in really, really great hands. So I guess the only thing that I'd love to hear is like, what is have you two, because I haven't had a chance to even talk to the two of you about it, but like the vision that we have about this piece, like, because it could literally be gigantic, right? So what are you thinking about, Jeff? I'd love to hear your thoughts on it.
Well, first, it's the approach is a little bit Pixar, right? You sort of alluded to this, where it's got enough, hopefully, to keep the kids really interested and fun, but it's got a lot going on, so the adults, I think, can go and sort of have fun together, right? And then the other exciting thing is, how you design a piece like this. Because like I said, right, there's the boy's bedroom, which is the basic world, and he's upset and he doesn't want to go out again. But then he goes on this, Christmas Carol, Wizard of Oz journey where different guides come and we've got to make the space transform somehow, right? To period England, and I think there's some China and India in there, and so flights of fancy. And people forget that there are both, incredibly techie ways to do it, but also really old school ways to do it, right? With set, with projections, and then the acting, and then also the physical acting, right, of the actors and how they transport you. So that's one of the things I've been really thinking about is how are we in one space and then transporting as only theater can do, right? And how it'll feel to be back making live theater and sharing it with a live audience and hopefully watching the look in kids' eyes, right? Because as they themselves are transporting to these places, and Philip has set it up so beautifully where we get to have a huge adventure really in just like an hour or so.
Yeah, and I love each of these, and especially this one, we have interactions with the audience in ways that are fresh and new. So kids, y'all gonna be able to participate, have fun, and actually like spend some time with these characters, and they'll be standing next to you and really get to be excited about live theater again in a way that we've missed. This is going to be April 15th through May 30th. That's April 15th through May 30th. Thank you again. Oh my God, Philip and Jeff for joining us. Woody Pak is our third person in this creative team. As you can see, we are really representing the multiple voices and faces that live in the DMV, and super excited to have this specific story told. So happy that the two of you could join me today. We are going to have different events. We have lots of other stuff happening, and we're going to have specific events for this one. That's going to be another live thing digitally later. And I know that we have a workshop in February. So when we have that workshop, we'll let everyone know it'll be live only. It will not be digital, but we'd love to see some of you come out. Let us know. Please email us at info@atmtc.org. info@atmtc.org. And you can just let us know that you want to be part of that list of all the workshops that we're going through, so you can see these musicals that we're going to be presenting this year. Again,
and you can explain that workshops are just kind of where we're working on the play, right? Like a rehearsal, kind of performance, and people can come and give us feedback.
Yeah, so we will have music, I think, for this workshop because we have all the music, but it is an opportunity to see it live and for our creative team to get some feedback, not necessarily directly from you, but just to watch how you interact with a piece, what things work, what doesn't work, and it's really important that you are there and present. And so we hope that you join us. But the workshops are just to make sure that certain jokes or the storyline or the idea works, and for us to get for the opportunity to finally hear this piece, since we talk about it all the time, right? We spend all the time just talking to each other about the piece, and we finally get to see it live. Yep. And Jeff will be joining us live for that as well, so we're really excited to have Jeff here for a little bit, and it'll be just before rehearsals start, right? I think it's going to be in February.
Yeah. Right, so about a month before rehearsals, I think.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yes, yay! I thank you for joining me today, and super excited to announce this as our fourth show in the season. And we all see you all soon.
Thanks.
Yay! 4th show. So we're now moving on to our 5th show in our 70th anniversary season. And I gotta tell you, the development of this piece was incredibly fast. Fantastic on the Math Monster. And Tori, I believe, is joining us from the National Mall.
Yeah. I am currently teching my first in-person show, which is a musical version of Twelfth Night. And let's see if you can see it. It's at the DC War Memorial. So I took a moment to step away from playing the drum kit to come spend time with all of you.
Tori, you are awesome. And I believe Madeline is here. Madeline, yay!
Hi.
So you can take away the poster. Bring us all, the 3 of us. So I love telling this kind of how this thing all started because people don't understand. The 2 of you are incredibly talented, but I didn't know you from Adam, right? I think I was just reaching out because I had seen Tori you perform.
You'd also seen Maddie.
That was the same show, right?
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
But I know that I had reached out to you first, and so I was like, "Hey, so," and just in the middle of the discussion, I was pitching something, and then I swear, like, it wasn't even like there was a light turned on. You just went, and then how many days later did you bring in the
5?
So
they gave you a full storyboard. Yeah.
So just so you all know, for kids and families out there, inspiration can drive you and make you do things quickly. Also can make you do things slowly. It just depends, right? But as you can see, what I was very lucky in is that it inspired Tori incredibly fast. And there was a lovely story that came out of this. And what I love is I believe you were just like, oh, I know exactly who I have to team up with. It wasn't even a question.
Well, so Maddie and I, we went to the same school and we've done a couple of shows together. But like, she's also my friend, and some of my best friends are like my favorite artists. And I knew that Maddie was the person to tell this story with me.
Well, what I love is that also, Maddie, you are also a teacher, right?
Yeah.
So, and this is me just as an outside observer, because I have a son, not a daughter. But just as an outside observer, I was just seeing what these weird things are happening for girls in STEM, and so what I love is the 2 of you, like, it's real.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
So, because the other part too for all of y'all to know is that I also, as the man in the room, I didn't want to be the dude that gave notes to these amazing, talented artists. And I'm sorry that Davinia, we didn't think about it, but Davinia, who's really been the caretaker of this process, has just, like, I've watched the evolution of this piece through her eyes, and to have, because it's mostly been a female identified artistic room, correct? Or is that
mostly?
Right. So I guess the clarity for me is a non-male identified, right?
Non-cis hetero male. We're sort of
Yes.
we're 2 very queer people, and we like to bring everything that entails into our room.
Yeah, I'm gonna find a better way to describe this room.
You have so much time. We don't open until I think May next year.
But that's the funny thing, is that this is the last piece, but this thing develops so fast.
Oh yeah, we're done. It's done. Just kidding. We have a workshop next week.
Yeah, I do want to show a picture of our director, who we had signed on fairly recently, Nadia. Yay, Nadia Guevara.
Mwah, mwah.
Yes. I love her excitement when she was confirmed. She said a cartwheel-inducing.
Which is pretty much like, that could be a line in the show that we wrote. Is, wow, that's cartwheel-inducing. That's how we knew we made the right choice.
Yeah, this is an amazing team, and what I feel like that we're trying to do is make sure that a hetero cis male person like me isn't overseeing the process, but just part of like listening in, and you know, my job as artistic director is still the same, but the idea is that I'm not actually in the room, that I'm actually outside of it. So I'll spend the time with Nadia through the discussions, but what I love is that, you know, that this team is so well built that I don't have to do.
Yeah.
It's been fun because I'm literally just like, I feel like I'm not even, I'm kind of in the trunk just listening in of the vehicle. I'm like, oh yeah, I know where we're going. I see exactly where we're going.
No, I think what's really nice about this process is, I think when we think about like the opportunities that we give our young boys that we don't give our young girls and our young kids, is the permission to just make. Right? Maddie and I both started as actors, and it's harder to say, you know what, I want to take a step away from asking for permission to perform and just make the show I want to see performed. And that's what's been really lovely about this process, is people who maybe don't necessarily get the chance to create, they're encouraged. They're like, no, you must create. You must go.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, like, it was hard to say no to you. I was... I forget who I was talking to when I walked out of the room. I think it was Craig, who was our development director. You had just left. I walked out to him because he was standing outside, and I said, "This is going to be an amazing musical, and I cannot wait to see what they do with it." And he's a music person, so he's like, "Oh, really?" He got excited, and he has a daughter. So the second I described it, like I was like, "This is the pitch." She's like, and he hands on. He's like, can we do it tomorrow?
Yeah, whenever told no, I will listen to the no, but I am very hard to say no to.
You know, though, that's the other thing is I'm trying to, you know, because I will always come, like, I cannot see your perspective, right? Like, I can empathize, but I won't truly understand. And so all I can do is kind of sit by and make sure that I am not stepping on my own mouth, right? But also like help you set parameters in the way we're doing things. So for all of you out there, the sense that I get, and I see this with my son too, is that boys are allowed to be brave, but girls have to be perfect. And what I'm trying to make sure that we understand here is that everyone should be brave, that we are not looking for perfection here. However, when you get close to perfection, like this musical, I cannot express how joyous this piece is every time I've seen it.
Well, what I was kind of hoping when I was writing this story is we get that message of you should be brave, you could be the hero of your own story. But also what you see in our generation and the much younger ones, you have a lot of people who think that they have to do it all. And that you can't fail, you can't make a mistake. And I wanted to tell a story with Maddie where actually it's not just that you can make a mistake, it's you should make a mistake. Mistakes are how you become a better person. And that
you're encouraged.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, that's the thing. And what I also love too is, like, I can tell what a really good teacher you are, Maddie, because of the care that you took in the way the kids are handled and what the kids do and how they react, because they were able to be real. They were able to have feelings, and you know, and fail, right? And like exactly what you were saying, Tori, and also what I love what the two of you did is in song. So all of you, I cannot wait for you to see this. We have a workshop coming up. Our first workshop of the season happens to be actually this workshop of this piece, which is the last piece we're going to do. August 17th, I believe, is the day that we're going to do the public presentation. For anyone who wants to join, please let us know. I believe there'll be email links here that you can send to let us know if you want to join us. We will have all the COVID protocols, but this is to test out the music. We'll have we have musicians, we have everything. We have performers. Our director will be working on this, so we get a chance to kind of see it, all of it live. Because the last reading we did was not music.
We had like 2 songs in there, but now they're all done. So yeah.
And arranged and
Oh, Maddie is a machine. Also, Maddie can talk about our musical inspirations for the show. It's not your typical TYA show.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, but again, and I'll just give me a second just to say this one thing, and I'll give you the floor. Sorry, but the two of you are representative of exactly what we want here at Adventure. We want people who take risk, who are trying even big ideas, knowing that our kids are smart. Kids will get it. We don't have to dummy things down for them because we're trying to be safe. We really know that kids are smart. We just have to message it in the right way so that kids get it. But if we put it out right, it will do the job for us. And that is what we're trying to do here at Adventure. This is Fantastical and the Math Monster, and this two creative team is a prime example of what we're trying to do here. So Maddie, I know I'd love to hear your inspirations for the music because it's really amazing.
Yeah. So we kind of originally we were like not really sure of like what we wanted to do with this, and we wrote both of us sort of started writing a lot of songs, and they just like weren't melding. Even like the songs that I wrote just like weren't melding with themselves. So we were like, okay, we need to like really solidify what we're doing, and I'm not really sure how we landed on this, but we ended up with like 80s glam rock. And so after that, it sort of was just like pretty much every song has like an inspiration from 80s music. So like there's a lot of Whitney Houston and Queen thrown in there, you know, like, the ones you gotta have. Queen Latifah, you know. So just like trying to really like have a solid sound world, and that sort of led us into this like technological sound. So since it is math, and Fantastic Girl doesn't necessarily like math at the beginning, her sound is very glam rock, and Math Monster's sound is very like techno. And then towards the end, they start to mesh into this, you know, like very 80s sound. And it's really exciting, I think.
Well, I love that you also thought of that detail, that it isn't just the music, it's also the arrangement that tells a story, and how each of those arrangements are reflective of different characters and the growth that they go through. Even the complexity of 1 + 1 is 2. The Free of Math. There's for all of you, there is a song called Free of Math, and when I first heard it, I was like, oh my God, this is as complex as Queen's pieces. You know, it's just like, I was like, oh my God, because there's so many levels happening within this song. And I really, please, if you want to get a taste of what this music is going to be, come to the workshop. You will love this musical. I also want to do a shout out to Karen Wainwright, who was also a teacher who helped talk through some of the storylines and was really helpful in with her perspective as a math teacher, right? And because she also taught some of the older kids, is that correct, or was it the same age?
I think she taught, I forget, I think she taught mostly elementary, was her, because she gave us a lot of like good like hands-on things that they would do.
Right.
And also I'm not a math teacher, I'm a music teacher, so it was definantely helpful to get some of the curriculum.
We had to be retaught 2nd grade math, and that's not a joke.
Well, and the thing is, so for all of you, the creative process, we did meetings throughout COVID. They did meetings. I basically kind of sat there and listened. But I did get a chance to hear them talk about these things, and I learned so much of the process that I have a newfound appreciation, not actually just for math and how to teach it, but teachers themselves. And then the musicality that's within how you can tell math stories. So what I love is that the two of you honed in on that immediately. You know, because music is math. It just the formulations of it. So you know, again, we're very, very lucky to have found the two of you.
Stop it.
I will say, like, please don't leave too soon, because I know there's a few more musicals that you have for us that you have to make for us first before you fly away and do gigantic things. But this, if this is an example of all the work that you're going to create with us, I hope we are in really, really great hands. So thank you. I know
Thanks,
that. I also, this yet again, it's like if I hear another person say, "Well, we can't find good musical theater people in DC," you all need to go away.
What I really appreciate, so the way that Chil met us was he had some teachers who were doing a touring Shakespeare show out in PG County, and so he went ahead and came, and it was in a gym, and afterwards he was like, wow, that was really great. And Chil literally put his money where his mouth is. It was like, you know what, we'll take a risk, because at the end of the day, like, we're just playing pretend. And the negative out of pretend, the positive, though, that can come out of risk taking, I think it's worth it. And so thank you for this opportunity.
Well, you know, part of my job is really just to get out of the way, right? Is to see, it's just because it was your talent, the two of you, is undeniable. And I hope you understand that. It's like, I was just lucky enough to go, oh, I better grab onto this comet before it flies away. I think that's the only smart thing that I did, which was just like, I held on for dear life because you all just flew. But you know, it really goes to show that there is talent here. Like, you two are talented, and I want everyone to know, and they will know when this thing opens, y'all, which is gonna be like a lot sooner than they think. I mean, it's June, but it's sooner than we think. It's June 17th is when it opens. It'll go all through the summer. So June 17th, 2022. Please come out and see this. The second you see this, you all will be glowing in the talent that is Tori and Maddie. Please don't take them away from me too soon.
I'm signing autographs now. They go for $10 a pop.
You know, but I hope you know, it's like, you don't have to do these years of developing and blah blah blah. There are talented people now. There are talented people in whatever age they are, but there are talented people here now. And so I just want to reiterate the fact that it's like, look, they're here. You two are a prime example of them being here in the DMV. And so thank you again for joining us on this wonderful journey. And we can't wait. We will have a special segment much later, closer to the opening of the show, that will do something that'll be partly digital and partly live. But we do have the workshop that is happening August 17th. It's a Monday. Please come and check it out if you can. You will not regret seeing this piece live. I also can't wait to see it, because to watch you all work with our amazing new director, our director Nadia. That's gonna be so much fun. I can't wait to see. I think we're having a meeting coming up soon, right?
Yeah, I think Thursday, maybe.
I don't know. I don't know my schedule anymore. I don't know anymore. We're going.
Secretary.
Come on, we're 70th anniversary. We're going live like now. So I just, again, I want to thank you for being on this journey. Thank you for taking out a time of opening another show, Tori, for joining us.
Honestly, my pleasure. If anyone wants to see that show, it will be a family-friendly version of 12th Night, and we open next weekend and go the weekend after.
Yay, plug. Yeah. Awesome. And Maddie, looking forward to seeing both the two of you next week. And please look out for Fantastic Girl and the Math Monster and all the beautiful iterations there are that will come with this, including monsters and monster puppets. So can't wait. Love you all. Woohoo! Bye. Yeah, you know, there's a wealth of talent here in the DMV. As you can see, more than half of our season is developed by local writers, and they're here. All you kids out there who are going to stay here in the DMV, like, you could aspire to be a writer for us at Adventure. And we hope that we develop that we hope that we inspire you, that we aspire to have your voice, whether it is to be a playwright or to be a spokesperson, to find the confidence to be who you fully can be, and also just to hear your stories, right? So we just want to make sure that it's clear that we're here for you at Adventure, and we will tell all the complex stories that we think that you deserve. And I guess what we're going to do is we're going to do a little bit of wrap up. So let's bring up our slates, the last slates. So we do have a show right now. As part of our 69th anniversary, getting slowly out of COVID, we have a live in-person show. Okay, I don't know why there's been confusion, but this Fairy Tales in the Sun is outside. Let me say this one more time. Fairy Tales in the Sun, which is our show happening this summer, is outside in the sun, though we do have tents and misters and all that stuff. So you won't be totally out in the sun, but it is outside. It is 2 fairy tales put together. It is Fairy Tales in the Sun. We hope you come and join us. One is based on a flood myth, and the other one is based on Cinderella. The Cinderella is one of the few Cinderellas that has it's all female-identified characters. And Fairy Tales, the flood myth is based on a Chinese myth. So I hope you come out and see that. It is available. Tickets are available now. Go to fairytalesinthesun.org or atmtc.org. Click the links and join us. They're happening Friday through Mondays every week. So kind of a long weekend. The next one is we still have our academy, our world-class academy is coming back live. So please join us. We have auditions for our professional program. We have scholarships that you can audition for as well. We would love to have you. We'd love to have anyone who really feels that musical theater isn't just for performers, but also people who want to engage and who want to find confidence in being in front of people. It will help you for the rest of your life. Look at me. I don't necessarily perform, but I've gained this confidence to be in front of people from all the training that I've had. And ATMTC's musical theater program is a remarkable world-class training program. And we're very lucky to have the team there that is presenting and getting new and more talented people through the ranks, not just musical theater, but in business and law and all the other places where you need to be present. We have fall classes that begins for grades K through 12 and is open for registration. So go to atmtcacademy.org. That's atmtcacademy.org. Come join us. We have lots of classes. We're going to be in person, and we're excited to have you in our facilities again. We have, of course, all our COVID protocols. I'm sure they're still kind of in flux because of some of the changes, but we will have them. We will have them up to date all the time for you, and we're really looking forward to seeing our lovely kids in person. And finally, we do this every week. We present something every week. This one was specifically to highlight our 70th anniversary season. 7-0. We're very excited that our theater company has been around this long. We cannot wait to join you in our next 70 years, but we need your help to make that happen. Please donate. Go to atmtc.org and donate what you can. Again, that's atmtc.org and donate what you can. We hope that you will join us for our season. Any of you who want to sponsor any of the shows, please let me know. I will also reach out to some of you because, and you know who you are. But we're really excited about our season. Kicking off my first true season here. So I'm very, very excited. Thank you all for joining us today. We will have separate pieces that'll be specially geared towards each of the musicals throughout the year. And we'll have special events that'll be celebrating our 7th anniversary that will also lead to our big gala dinner. We hope you join us and celebrate our 70th anniversary and the bright future that is here at Adventure. We will see you soon. Bye.